Welcome, Sagittarius. This is Regina from Pacific Tarot, getting ready to do a third quarter July, August, September reading for you. This is coming to you under the energy of the full moon in Capricorn. And this is making a reference to the new moon in Capricorn in January of this year, where you were sorting out your priorities, your focuses, and now with this full moon energy, we have an opportunity to deeply prioritize and commit to the things, the essential things that are going to make the biggest impact on our goals, on our progress moving forward, what it is we truly need and want in our lives. And of course, Saturn, the ruling planet of Capricorn, is in Aries. And this is not only the rigidity, the structure, the form that Saturn gives to our accomplishments in the real world, but it's about building something new, pioneering something. So let's get started with July. In the beginning of July, the Hermit energy. This goes so seamlessly with the energy I believe many Capricorns exhibit as teachers or sages, so that there's something you know, something you can help others to understand better. This is the result of your own inner search for answers and meaning from your experiences, establishing your own authority, knowing that the only rules that are relevant to your forward progress are those values and principles that you integrate into your life and that motivate you to share what you're learning with others. This is based on your vast experience and this sacred understanding that in order to extract the value from experiences, particularly difficult ones, and many of you may be in the throes of some difficult challenges, particularly material challenges. This is the necessity to help others to model what is a healthy and healing way to move forward, to attend to those patterns and behaviors that you recognize do not move you forward. Towards the end of July, we have the Ten of Pentacles, which is about your legacy. And legacy is a sort of fancy way of saying that you are recognizing your privilege, particularly if it's been challenging. This card is not coming through as a wealth distribution, happy philanthropy card at all. This is feeling more like the difficulties you've overcome, the stepping stones along the way to building up some kind of security or stability, a way that you can take care of those that you love. This is challenging, but you've learned something about that. Primarily, I believe for a lot of Sagittarians, what you've learned is your worthiness to be comfortable, to be stable and secure, to receive financial reward, to stand up for the idea that you are worthy of full value. And this is a huge lesson that I believe that you are working through at this particular time, especially for those of you that are Sagittarius risings. This is really about establishing your values. What is important to you, not just in terms of your possessions and comforts and money and relationships, but in terms of your value. What do you honor? What are you committed to? What is a deal breaker for you? I'm going to clarify July with 3 cards. And there are 2, one more. Okay, so I think I saw the Nine of Pentacles, the Star, and the Ten of Swords. Boy. So in July, you are emphasizing the theme of your independence, right? You are pursuing your own interests. This is very much an echo of the Hermit card, both number nines. You're getting to the peak of understanding yourself and those things about yourself that you're worthy of investing in. So this is you surveying the way that you have committed to the development of your talent, your conditions, your character, and you are enjoying your garden. You're appreciating your independence and your uniqueness. And you also know that your authority derives from your interest, how you've developed. What you see is your ability to recontribute, to reinvest in your community, but not until you've enjoyed the fruits of your labor first. That's part of your process. You're enjoying the ability to generate some abundance, and then you're considering very carefully what kind of world you want to see, what kind of life you want to live. And your aspirations, as is, very temperamentally expected, very idealistic. You see a better world. You see more freedom as a high value for yourself and for others. The freedom to choose, the freedom to pursue. And this is starting to sound a little bit like the U.S. Constitution here, but this is so essential to your ability to be creative and to be able to command your worth in the marketplace, in the world, something that has been difficult for you in the past. The Ten of Swords is emphasizing, boy, this represents the jettison of a lot of old beliefs, a lot of beliefs that were instilled in you that don't really reflect your values or your aspirations. Perhaps a lot of those that once poured these expectations into you are no longer a part of your life. So there's the loss of something that was intended, I believe, lovingly, was not maliciously intended. Our parents don't always know what's best for us, but they think they know how to keep us safe. And the focus on safety is blunting to a Sagittarian energy. It's just not a priority for you. Being safe is not it. You need to be free to pursue what you want to explore. It's interesting that you go from the 9 to the 10, and this is echoed in both places. With a star in the middle, this is quite an interesting way of looking at not only your destiny, but your public facing, your announcement of that destiny to others, perhaps to a collective, perhaps to a family, perhaps you're calibrating this new confidence in your independent path that you've likely been following for a long time, but may not have claimed it in a way that's comfortable to you or that still echoes in the expectations and projections of others, others who love you, others who want what's best for you, but that those concerns and needs are not yours. That's not your foundation. Your foundation is one of giving back, showing to others how they can generate their own abundance, their own stability and security, their own generosity, comfort in the world in a way that helps others to do that based on your experience, what you model. And this is definitely about modeling. It's powerful here. In the month of August, the world is this completion. Something's wrapped up here. You're done with something that, and it feels to me, it's not that you're done with your legacy. I feel like that's just opening up for you. You're doing it in your own way. You're allowing yourself to experience some of the rewards and recognition that you have in some ways isolated yourself from. And that isolation was in part for safety, and in other part because there is so much expectation of your talent. There's so much that you are good at. There's so much that you encourage in others. There's such an optimistic cast, even in your most depressed states. You never stint your encouragement of others' progress in any way. It's not in you. So this, to me, is showing you accepting some reward, but only understanding that this is part of the legacy building. This is part of a new expression, a more independent life and experience of the world, one in which perhaps you move throughout the world as an independent, not as a family member, not as part of a team, but that you operate individually in a way that builds towards a better world. But there's comfort in your independence now in a way that it once caused you to be negatively judged. And even if people continue to talk, that judgment doesn't matter to you because you understand the real divine purpose of your independence. You're out here exploring alternatives, new ways to invest in the community and the collective, to invest in your talents to make you more available to the world that we are rebuilding or building anew. In the end of August, the Five of Pentacles. Now, this is interesting to me how these stack up with one another from the 10 to the 5. And I feel like this vision that you have of generosity, of giving to others, is having an incredible impact on the way you organize your own life. There's a need for simplicity here. There's a need to declutter, to get rid of what doesn't work. So much of your life has been built on fending off the projections of others. Now you need to remove the evidence of that. This can look like completely calling in for some assistance in organizing your life around your current goals and focus. This is less about memorabilia, old letters, old friends you haven't seen in ages. There's really a desire here to streamline and tighten up, to be highly functional, because this is what you prepared for. This new lifestyle is something that you are ready to begin on new terms after a real break with the traditional norms, the traditional expectation, without any desire to comply with what others desire of you. In fact, I don't know that others understand you always. I don't know that others understand your instinct for this better utopian world. And I say dystopian, utopian, not dystopian, with a certain amount of, not sarcasm, but with reserve, with caution. Because I think the last years, Pluto has been in Capricorn in your second house. So your whole notion of the material world and the necessity of exercising our values through our material lives has really chastened you in a dramatic way. So this is the result of that. This idea that you, yes, are a maverick. That isn't new, but your ability to activate a maverick lifestyle that separates you from the way it's always been is something that is gaining new legs here for you. The Four of Pentacles, the Five of Pentacles, that's a repeat. and the World card again. Interesting. So August, the height of summer in the northern hemisphere and the height of winter in the southern hemisphere. So change is the byword here. Closure is the byword. So in order to change, you understand you have to clear something away. This declutter instinct is something that's operating throughout August. And it's interesting because in the northern and the west of the northern hemisphere, August is kind of like the peak of summer. It's a traditional vacation month. Even in some cultures, countries, things literally shut down for a little vacation, social vacation. So this feels like it is moving with the trend. You're using the time of reestablishing yourself on new terms, vastly simplified, vastly stripped down to their most essential elements, what you need to build your future world, your future success. It's interesting because the World card is suggesting a kind of, not just an initiation, it is an initiation, but it's about the coming together of your divine masculine and divine feminine selves within you. So how that can look for you is the title or the label of bachelor, eternal bachelor, bachelor for life has taken on new value to you in a way that is not about being in a partnership, finding true love, connecting with somebody in a really meaningful way. But it is about the necessity that your independence is a part of who you are and that you value that in others. And in that way, this internal marriage of those two archetypes is signaling your readiness, your availability for deeper connection. So this is an interesting feature about August in particular. This foundation you're building in the material world is actually based on stripping away a lot of the fluff, the extra, the sentimental tokens, um, and moving forward to building this new world. In September, the Two of Swords starts out the month of September. So I still feel that you're resonating with the crossroads energy here. I feel a certain sense there, a sort of uh, glory in your own individual independence, your unique capacity and potential, and the history, the context, the social setting and conditions you came out of. And this is choosing again. I feel like you've had to choose again because for many of you, you were born with some memory of your choice to be here, some memory of perhaps a mission, even if that was forgotten and it was dismissed and was not encouraged or seen. You've never lost the belief or sense that you were born with a lot of protection. And you may have experienced a lot of protection in dangerous circumstances in your youth, but you have an opportunity to do that again. I feel like this is this absolute choosing of a spiritual life, a progressive life, an alternative life, moving towards a more collective experience, sharing resources, doing things in an alternative way that reinforces your ability to choose what's right for you. There is some concern that you're moving away from those that love you, that are here in the traditional conformity camp. And it isn't even about political views or philosophical approaches, because those with whom you have shared politics with are still tied to many of these traditional choices that you, by virtue of your independence, have been freer to choose. In the end of September, we have the Sun card. Wow. Ultimately, I feel like the Sun is talking about this, cliched as it is, the liberation of your inner child, your inner spirit, your heart, your ability to simply be happy, to glory in the sun, to glory in the abundance of the universe, and the joy that you give to others by that simple exercise of freedom, that display of who you are exactly as you are. This is really quite fortuitous for, I believe, someone who has really come through it, been through it. So let me clarify with the Empress, the Three of Cups, and the Hermit again. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Okay, well, we always love the Empress. This is the power that you are getting in touch with. This is inner and outer. And this power has a lot to do with your experience at making things work. You know how to make things work. You're the one who produces because of your know-how, because of your alignment with natural timing, forces, the needs of others that you work with, your ability to intuit that, not just intuit their needs, but to provide them with the tools that allow them to do what they do better. So there is this nurturing cast in the ways that you show, teach, lead, guide others. And this also acknowledges that people see you as this power, as shining the sun upon them, just with your example. How do you do what you do? How can you turn that into something that you can share more broadly, more widely with others? And of course, the support you have. I think this is really interesting because I'm sensing right now many of you that are here in this moment have been popular in your life. If not popular, you've had a lot of friends. You're very friendly. You're easy with people. You're sincere. You're open. And yet, I feel like the change in your independent status, the more assertive you've become about being your own person, you've also found deeper connection with a spirit team, spiritual guidance, ancestral or cultural wisdom, lineage, historical examples of accomplishment that you aspire to. You're really getting your support and encouragement from other worlds, other dimensions. And this really goes along with what I sensed about your early years, where you felt born into a kind of protection, perhaps throughout your childhood, being in somewhat dangerous or untenable situations, you always slid through without a scratch. And you were aware at the time that that wasn't the norm, but you also accepted it as part of this divine inheritance that you were aware of. There's something about not having the often quite common amnesia, not about your purpose per se, because I don't think children think in those terms, no matter how gifted they are. But I do think you felt a sense of being surrounded by incredible light and love and energies that saw you and recognized you, that you could commune with. And that's part of uh, the impetus towards this ability to go within for answers. Because the external world is populated by the elementals, the seraphim, the fae, the orisha, you feel that energy. You're very sensitive to that, particularly if there is an ethical or spiritual dimension to that presence, that desire for improvement, to explore ways in which you can learn from all of those ancestors, all of that divine energy, keeps you coming back to a sacred space, a meditation practice that you've developed. You may be increasing your attention to the scholarship regarding researching your ideas, your stories. Perhaps these are the stories you want to share with others as teaching tools. This is you always having that respite, that resource to retreat among your teachers, to go into your forest enclave, your sacred forest enclave, to meditate, to commune, to be inspired, to learn from the ancients. This is so beautiful. I am so moved. I'm feeling so emotional with this gorgeous reading. I'm going to wrap it up here with Crystal Oracle, and one is flipped over. I'm going to pull it. The Fire Agate Creativity. I allow the creativity of my soul to shine through to my world. Thank you so much, Sagittarius, for this phenomenal reading. I am truly hoping that this predictive exercise is helpful. If you resonated with any part of it, please like this video and subscribe to my channel, Pacific Tarot. Until next time, namaste.